Hey, what's happening, guys? Dan Dario here with another Options in Play video update. We're definitely through the heart of earnings season, and things will start to quiet down as we get closer to June. But we still do have some big names out there. It's just they're more outside of tech type names. So this week is gonna be really big for retail. Every day, pretty much have uh, most of the days we have some big names. So just I feel like there's gonna be a lot of talk about retail, consumer spending, consumer sentiment. So just prepare yourself. All right. Before the open on Monday, there's actually two companies, which it's a little bit busier Monday than normal. It's kind of appropriate. Monday.com reports Monday before the open, right? 27 points is what's priced in. Um, I mean, it's a high growth. It's not as expensive as it once was, but it's also still not cheap. I mean, this has been a hard area for earnings. I mean, companies they really need to deliver, otherwise these stocks can really get hit hard. So any bull trade for me would be probably post earnings. Um, that's just because of how the actions played out this quarter. And then another one that's kind of falls into that same category is Wix. About 13 points is what's priced in here. I mean, it's just been slowly walking lower. I mean, the last few quarters have not been good. Definitely a tougher setup because sentiment seems so low, but it's also kind of hard to say that there's not more downside if they disappoint. So I just don't think I'm going to be involved in that one. After the close of Monday, Take Two, so about 9.5 points is what they're looking for. Activision's reported, EA's reported, so there might not be a ton of surprise left, but historically, Take Two is one of the bigger movers in that group. And EA just this past week had a pretty good reaction to results. So I don't think I'm going to be in it, but if I did, it might be something speculative on the bull side. Before the open on Tuesday, so this is when the retail gets going. So about 18.5 points is what they're looking for on Home Depot. So after beating and raising for many quarters in a row, Home Depot actually got it below the street in February and was crushed. So that was right here. Not much of a recovery. It's below some key support going into earnings too. So I mean, this is going to be a big quarter for the stock, and it looks like it's set up for a move. Um, I guess the issue I see is that the option pricing seems kind of high to me at like 18 and a half, and it might not leave a ton of room. Um, so if I did do something, I'd have to get risk down on options to participate because 18 and a half seems a little pricey. Walmart, so about 625 is what's priced in. I mean, this is a huge report. Finally put in a 52-week high a few weeks ago, but I mean now it's rolled back down, so it's below this long-term level of resistance again. I mean, last quarter was solid, but the stock didn't get paid. Now people are going to be watching to see signs of the state of the consumer, right? It's just the problem with Walmart is just it's not as consistent of a mover as it once was. But every few quarters, I feel like you get like a big move. If I did play this, it would probably be with like lower debit, further out of the money contracts in case it has one of those huge quarterly moves because you know it's not as consistent, but when it does move, it tends to be a really big move. So that's kind of how I look at Walmart. JD, so about 6.5 points is what's priced in. Last quarter wasn't good, and that's really kind of what started the snowball lower in a lot of the Chinese e-commerce names. So I don't know. I find it hard to be super bullish this time around, and I still think that there's some risk to the downside here with the state of like e-commerce stocks. But what's interesting about JD is that BABA and PDD don't report next week, so there could be sympathy plays because they should react to JD's results. I see. So another e-commerce name is about 14 points is what's priced in. Yeah, I mean it's coming off a weak quarter. The stock has been active weak for months. I mean they need to deliver. There's been a lot of e-commerce stocks that have continued to drop even after getting hit hard because disappointing results are they still seem to be leading to lower lows on these types of names. The option pricing is kind of high. $14 on a $74 stock is definitely not cheap, but maybe if it's something that you have conviction with, you could look at it. I don't know. I haven't traded this one much in the past, so I'm not sure I'm going to be involved. After the close on Tuesday, a couple of smaller names, DOCS, so Doximity, which is priced in about 6.5 points, and then D-Lo, which is priced in about 425. So they're kind of like a couple recent IPOs, a little bit higher priced. I feel like they're both in the same camp. That's why I'm lumping them together. Where I mean, they need to deliver, or they could get hit hard, because that's really been the pattern on these types of new issues lately. It's like if they don't deliver, they really tend to get hit. So they gotta put up some good numbers before they open on Wednesday. So more retail. Lowe's 1425 is what they're looking for, but Home Depot reports first, and it's definitely going to impact Lowe's. The thing is, though, that Lowe's doesn't always react the same way to Home Depot. And I mean, last quarter was a good example of that. Lowe's actually, I think, closed up on their earnings day, while Home Depot obviously got hit really hard. So we're gonna have to wait and see where Lowe's is trading post Home Depot results, because it could be up a bunch or down a bunch from there. Target, so big one, about 16 points is what's priced in. Walmart could impact this the day before, but those two don't always move together either. Last quarter, very solid. I mean, that's where you got this big pop, and it's actually pretty much just back to where it was on that session, right? You can see right here. So I mean, it feels like there's room lower, there's room higher. It has a history of moving. So to me, it seems like it sets up kind of well for volatility strategy, and the option pricing is not ridiculously high either. TJX, so about 375 is what they're looking for. Last quarter was a little disappointing, but the stock quickly recovered. It hasn't been acting great though, and they're gonna have to deliver. I might look at Burlington as a sympathy play, because TJX reports next week, and so does Ross Stores. Burlington doesn't, and sometimes it'll move with those two. So I might look at a sympathy play on that one. And then also Wednesday morning ADI. So 9 points is what's priced in. This is only one of like a few tech reports next week, but um, it's a semi. Could be something to watch. I mean, I thought the semis had decent quarters so far, but the stocks across the semi landscape really haven't acted that great. Chart's tight. It hasn't broken the March low, which kind of separates it from some other chip names. That's kind of impressive, actually. Could be a mover, but it's just not a consistent name. So I guess I'll see how the week is going and determine whether or not I want to play that. After the close on Wednesday, Cisco 275 is what's priced in. It's a big legacy tech report. It's been slowly walking lower into earnings, which is a little strange, because last quarter was actually decent. It was a beat and raise. I guess maybe sentiment's low enough where if they can surprise to the upside, maybe there's some room higher. But I guess I just am not expecting a huge move out of this one. Before they open on Thursday's Kohl, so they're priced in at 7.5, and really like the only reason this interests me is if there's any development around M&A, because there's been multiple headlines around offers, but it doesn't seem like management has wanted to do a deal. But the worse the stock performs, maybe that increases the chances of something happening. So it could be a mover on those comments, but just earnings and revenues, I don't know if it's going to be a huge mover. After the close on Thursday, AMAT, so 825 is what's priced in. Another chip report. It hasn't been acting great. Lam, which is a peer, didn't have a particularly good earnings report this quarter. It just really doesn't look like a setup for me where I'm expecting a huge move, and with options at like above 8, I just don't really like the look of it. It will probably be something I watch post earnings for a swing, but as of right now, I don't think I'm going to be involved on the actual earnings release. Palo Alto, so about 46 points is what's priced in. I'm really curious to see how this plays out, because it had a decent report in February, but the stock reaction after was crazier, because this was right after Russia invaded Ukraine. That's when this move happened. And then now the stock is back to where it was, right around its earnings day last quarter. So it does seem to me to be like a make or break setup, because there's lots of room higher, there's lots of room lower. The issue is that option pricing is pretty high relative to its moves in the past. So I feel like if I did something with this, I'd have to get risk down because at 46 plus points, I mean, that definitely is on the higher end of what it tends to move, like percentage wise. So, I mean, I feel like it looks like it could move. It seems like there's room in either direction, but also at the same time, options are priced pretty high. So, if I did do something, I'd really have to get risk down. And then Friday before the open, so Deere, big industrial, 23 points was priced in. I don't really have a clue what to make of it because last quarter was strong, but the stock didn't react great. It's a play on commodities, but those aren't acting great now. It's kind of at the bottom of like this support, but it, you know, it just, I don't have a feel for it. Industrials really didn't have a very impressive earnings season, so I think I'm going to leave it alone. But maybe after earnings, I'll take a look at it. And then lastly is Foot Locker. So 425 is what's priced in. Got absolutely crushed last quarter. Hasn't bounced. There's huge gap above clearly, and then there's still room lower. So I'll see how the week goes. This could be a late in the week volatility strategy candidate, but I'd like to see that option pricing come down a bit before. And that's it. So uh, a busy week, lots of retail, some tech names here and there. So I feel like there's definitely opportunities for some big movers, and we'll see how it goes. All right. So if you like this video and you're looking for more information about trading options into events or around events, please follow up the link in the description of the video for more information on options and play. Have a great weekend. Stay well, and I will talk to you all on Monday.